Fitzmorton and a smiling victim. A real idyll, this Crimpleby Manor, a Tudor building of red brick, embedded in the lush green of a well-tended garden, around which a few older cottages built in natural stone were grouped. At the back of the garden stood a white summer house, a pseudo-oriental style reminiscent of spas like Bath. Pretty here, thought Detective Inspector Phileas Fitzmorton, enjoying the morning idyll. Sighing, he turned away from the window and back to his silent host. The very pale Sir Travis George Llewellyn Crimpleby, 4th Baron Crimpleby, fideikommissary and lord of the manor of Crimpleby Manor in Brithwith-upon-Crye, besides being a retired brigadier general and justice of the peace, could no longer welcome him, for he was dead. With his head tilted slightly forward, he sat in a heavy green leather armchair with brass nail trimmed by the defunct fireplace. One hand hung over the wide armrest, the other lay like a bookmark in the closed Bible in his lap. An elongated horse face under taut, brushed back grey hair with a pointed, slightly upturned nose gave Sir Travis a pubescent appearance softened only by the strong moustache, a masculine face, yet slightly too soft by a thick Habsburg lower lip. Inspector Fitzmorton had once convicted a robbery murderer who had just such a lip, polite, soft-spoken and whiny the fellow had been, but behind that mask he was devious and ice-cold. Those were often the most dangerous. But this one, what was the story behind that face? Sir Travis had only been discovered early that morning. Strange. The library, with its elegant Regency furniture, looked inviting in the mild morning sun. The soft, blood-red Afghan carpet with its elephant foot pattern, the high mahogany shelves and the many books, many of them with precious gold-embossed leather bindings, the heavy curtains, everything in this room breathed the typical atmosphere of a noble way of life founded on wealth accumulated over generations. Everything was still in its place here and would probably still be in 100 years' time. Landed gentry, inherited wealth, security, boredom. Superintendent Philbody Somerset Jones of the county police had snarled conspiratorially to the inspector. Sir Travis used to be a big shot in the Home Office, first highly decorated professional soldier and later secret missions and so on. Well, you know. Fitzmorton hated that phrase because of course he knew nothing. Considering his death, Sir Travis' life had certainly not been dull and at times probably perilous. Sir Travis smiled. Inspector Fitzmorton tried to detect a somewhat tortured streak in that strange smile, but no, the dead man just smiled. You would have thought he was dozing off a little, so peacefully reclined he lay in his comfortable leather chair, his head sunk slightly forward. Only his half-open eyes, staring into nothingness, did not quite match the strange smile. Fitzmorton had the involuntary impression that Sir Travis had known his murderer and had not really taken him seriously until the last second. Perhaps like a father amused by his precocious son's first amorous attempts at the housemaid. He had never had a murder victim before him, with such a smile on his face, and he had seen a few. Stroking his chin beard somewhat indecisively, Fitzmorton limped around the armchair and examined the bullet hole in the dead man's temple at close quarters. Beneath the base of the thinning gray hair was a small, almost circular hole. Only a little blood had leaked from the wound, over which the pale skin had already almost completely contracted again. A thin, crusted thread of blood had run down to the chin. There the blood had dried to a scab. Not even the expensive-looking house coat was soiled. The killer must have used an unusually small, yet very effective caliber, a clean job in every respect. For once an almost pleasant corpse. Inspector Fitzmorton noticed to his own surprise that, contrary to his usual habit, his stomach did not torment him with rising nausea. Nevertheless, he found a mockingly smiling murder victim obscene, as if the perpetrator was doing it to taunt a harried Scotland Yard detective.